You're gonna die. Yeah. Oh my god, buddy, what the hell? Everslaught Invasion. Is this game good? Is this game bad? Well, I'm here to tell you about the good, the bad, and the ugly in this freaking video. Now, of course, as always, I like to keep this as fair as humanly possible as I go through these reviews, because I'm not here just to poop on games. I'm here to talk about games and praise them for the good, and of course, hold them accountable for the bad. Now, when I jump into this game, I have some expectations because Everslaught has already been a game that has existed on the PC VR platform. Now, these are two separate games, just to be entirely clear, as in the sense that the Everslaught on PC VR was a solo game, and it was a high graphic fidelity game that honestly really pushed the boundaries, and they did a freaking amazing job of that game. Can this live up to it by coming over to the Quest 2? Well, these are questions that I have and thankfully have answers for now, and I'm here to tell you all about them. Now, Everslaught Invasion, the whole purpose of this is that you get to go in there as a team and you can destroy all of the bad spirits that are coming, and you are essentially a team of crackpot people sent in to destroy them and do the good of wave after wave after wave after wave of slaughtering them. You'll be done and you'll move on to the next area. Now, of course, there is a bit of story to this, told to you through the way of like basically a storybook sort of comic-esque way, which I'm kind of a fan of. It works in virtual reality, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. If anything, it's quite an easy way to sort of portray what's going on in a game fairly efficiently whilst the load screen's going on in the background. So we've come used to this now at this point in virtual reality. Not too bad. Bit of a flat screen approach to it if I'm honest, but still it's quite a good way to convey a story when honestly you don't really need a story for this type of game. They may as well have just said to you, go do the killing, have fun, because it would have meant about as much as a story in this game. Now, it's been said that Everslaught Invasion has a potential to come out on other platforms later down the line. If that will happen, I don't know. It very much depends probably how it performs on the Quest 2. Now, I really want to talk about this Quest port versus the PC VR port, because there are some huge gaping issues between the two that I can see at least. Now, of course, we are moving on to a mobile platform. We expect there absolutely to be a huge drop in the graphical fidelity of this because it is a standalone headset versus a PC powered by like freaking 4090s. Of course, there's going to be a difference in these things. Man, I will say like this sort of stuff though does look pretty damn good. My gloves look pretty damn good, which is kind of cool. So this sort of stuff, that's a big win. The only thing that lets it down a little bit is some of these textures, but it's okay again. This is a Quest game at the end of the day. I just wish this was coming out for PC at the same time, man. It would have been so freaking dope. I'm not expecting to see that level of fidelity in a Quest game, but what I did see in this game wasn't great, I'm going to put it that way. And that's going by Quest standards. I'm not holding it accountable to what it looks like on PC VR, just before anyone jumps into the comments. But holding this accountable to other Quest titles, this really falls a little flat. Now, the effects in this are a little bit lackluster, if I'm honest, in the sense like the blood just is like globules that just go, you're going to die. Yeah. Oh my god, buddy, what the hell? Oh, that looks bad. Okay. Excuse me? The enemies getting like decapitated and taking arms off and stuff like that feels very mid, if I'm honest with you. And then the environments themselves and the enemy types look very half done, I think is probably the best way of me putting it. Oh, that looks a little sketchy. It just does not look like this polish has been applied to this at all, man. It's like looking through this with foggy lenses, and I'm a little bit upset about that because it came from a game which was pretty much critically acclaimed to be stunning by everyone who played it, and I was just hoping that they would be able to bring across some of that polish into this, but they didn't. Which sucks, I'll be honest with you. Now, of course, you can go into this solo or play with multiplayer. That's completely down to you. Playing this solo because I feel like any game should be able to withstand someone solo playing it as well as multiplayer. It's very, very important to me that I prove that fact for all of these games because of the fact that not everyone has someone that they want to go in with, and there are times when you want to just go and enjoy this without the stress of having to get a party together first. Now, I have also played this as a caveat in multiplayer so that I could check this out, so that I could have a true opinion if it made the game any better or any worse. Now, I can tell you I didn't have a great experience solo, and I had a better experience being multiplayer. But Why is that? Well, that's because I have fun with my friends when I'm actually playing this game, and obviously alone you really start to hyper focus on maybe some of the flaws of the game and less about the fun that you can have in the game, which is a no-brainer. It's always the way with these things. So yes, multiplayer is the better way to play this game, but only because it's going to hide some of its glaring faults, and really that's the truth of it. Now let's jump into some of the game mechanics, because I feel like this is actually where the pros start to come in of this. The jumping mechanic, very, very fun. I absolutely love that. You have a grappling hook and a cannon attached to your arm. Now these things, they look actually pretty good, and I was actually genuinely surprised when you look at the gauntlets that they actually look pretty damn good in this game. The grappling hook side of it looks really, really nice. The cannon looks really nice, has a fun little animation when you shoot it and stuff. Not as good as the PC port, because it used to fold up and go back into your arm when you closed it with the wrist. Unfortunately that mechanic isn't there anymore, but fine, this is a mobile platform port. But in general, the gauntlets looked very nice. I've got to say, they actually did a very good job polishing those up and making them look nice. Now to go back to the mechanics, the grappling hook in itself actually felt freaking amazing. Very, very clean. Well done to the team for that, because honestly that's quite a hard task to perform in a way that not only looks good but feels good in virtual reality. Now the swordplay in this was actually really good in the PC version of this. You know, it really felt fluent and like it was meaningful where you striked and how you did that. There's just no physics in this game. Like, as far as it goes for sword fighting, there is no physics. You may as well be playing Beat Saber, just, you know, just doing this, because you will have just as much success doing this as you would being tactical and thinking about where you're going to slice. And that freaking sucks to me, because it got to points in the game when it was busy and I'm just literally like, I'm bored, you know, there was nothing to it. That sucks. That really, really sucks, and I wish that they would fix that, and I really hope that there's a future update that addresses that, please, because listen, if I'm playing a sword game, I really need it to have physics and be meaningful. Otherwise, just give me a stick. I would have at least the expectation of just using a stick then. So I've really got to say, that part of it, that was god awful. Now, of course, this is a co-op game as well. You can play with a couple of players, so very, very cool. I do like that about it, and I think it's got something special going on with that. We're up here just floating in our little mid-sky. I do think this is very cool. I think if you hadn't played the original Everslaught, you'd probably be more than impressed with this. Personally, I am a little bit disappointed, if I'm honest. Just because I really, truly loved the other game, and this kind of feels like this really nerfed version of it. I felt like they could have gone like a little harder on the graphical fidelity of the enemies and stuff, as that kind of just feels kind of lackluster looking. The other thing that I'm not keen on is the weaponry for fighting. It feels really sluggish in this. Like, you're just doing this. If you just do this, you're fine. There's no tax to it or anything. Like, it's just do this, because otherwise you got nothing else going for you. Just do this. You're good. Figure of eights, figure of eights, figure of eights. That takes us right through into the last section, which I'm assuming you're already going to know the answer to by now. But should you be picking this up right now? No, I don't think you should be. This isn't particularly a game that I can recommend you go pick up right now. And I'm sorry if you've been looking forward to this, because so was I. I was looking forward to this too. I was very, very excited to dive into this game. And I was ultimately disappointed at the end of it. And I'm sad. I hate making reviews like this because it just feels negative, and it's not really how I like to be. I like to try and look at the positives in things. But with this, I just felt like I needed to share it, because I know there's a lot of hype around this game, and I know there's a lot of excitement, and honestly, I would hold off for a little while. If some big changes sort of do happen with this, I mean, I'm in touch with the developers. If they can inform me that some things have changed, I go and experience it and they've changed, I will gladly make another follow-up video to this saying you should be buying this if it gets to that state. So keep an eye on the channel for that. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I'm a bit bummed out to make this kind of content. Like, are you still interested in seeing this if I have this kind of opinion on games? But I don't know. I just hate it. Anyway, that's the way it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles. If you enjoyed this, smash like, support the channel with a comment down below. Let me know whether you have played it and you feel the same way, or if maybe you completely disagree with me and you think, wow, the swordplay is just great. I mean, I can't wait to meet you if that's if someone has that impression of the game, but we will have a conversation, I guess, at the time. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next video. Goodbye.